Buhurt. So Buhurt's predominantly made up of a 5v5 team, and then it can go higher and higher and higher. But the tactics I'm talking about today, or the positions I'm talking about today, is purely for 5v5. Before I go into my role as the center, I'll briefly go over the other roles in a 5-man Buhurt team, or 5-person Buhurt team. So the first role I'm going to go through is the anchor. So just imagine this is the list, or I'll crop in a awesome video of someone on the as an anchor role. This is the list here. They will have a sword and a shield, or a shield and an axe combo. They will most likely not have a two-handed weapon. The reason for that is they will use the list to stabilize themselves, and they will fight off the list. To the right or to the left of that person, you're gonna have a floater. Now this floater, which is essentially going to be at the shoulder of the anchor, can have any weapon loadout you like: sword and shield, sword and mace, two-handed sword, two-handed axe. Essentially what they are the, I guess, the striker and the protector of the anchor. So the anchor can worry about winning the list fight, and the floater will be trying to pepper the opponents with their axe, do some damage, while also protecting with their shield if they can, and scanning the field for the anchor. So pretty much you have that mirrored on each side. So we have a anchor and a floater on the left-hand side of the list, and then you have an anchor and a floater on the right-hand side of the list. And then in the middle of the list, you have a center. I predominantly will roll center for the teams that I fight for. And I like to roll a two-handed axe. You can roll a sword and a shield, or a combination of whatever, a shield and whatever combination. But for me, I'm not a massive fighter, I'm quite a small boy. So I feel like my speed and my striking power with the two-handed axe, right here, gives me a very unique position on the field, as I am moving around quite a lot. But also, people want to be keeping an eye on the center, and they want to be keeping an eye on you even more if you can swing an axe very hard. For example, if the enemy center, so the other team center, has a sword and shield, the only thing you really need to worry about them is, hitting you from behind or blindsiding you. When the other center has a two-handed axe and they run behind, you have to worry about obviously side blinding and getting hit in the back with an axe, and no one likes that, or back, leg, whatever. It's scary to have a two-handed axe floating around. So these are just my tips for playing the center role with a two-handed axe. And also a few tips on how to play center if you're a small boy like myself. Okay, so my first tip for playing center with a two-handed axe, we'll say my beautiful Pell here is the floater, for example. So I'll move the floater back over here. So here's the floater, and the anchor is on the other side. So the anchor is on the wall. On the start of a Buhurt fight, I'll do two things. I'll either push up to the enemy center, and I will stand there and I will, size them up, try and keep them out of the play as much as I can. Or the other thing I'll do is I'll float back to the floater. I will come back from the center and I'll move over to the floater. And two things I'm going to do while I'm back near my floater. I can either stay just in front of my floater, so it's keeping the enemy anchor and floater watching me, and as well as keeping the enemy center out of play, keeping them out of distance. So essentially doing some fake shots, or just keeping off the enemy center. Two things can happen. Either their center is going to stay there and try and counter you, or they're going to run off and do some mischief. If they're a two-handed axe fighter in the center, I will then follow them. If they're a sword and shield or a shield combination fighter, I will let them go, and then I will go to town on the enemy floater, and I will absolutely destroy them. I'll run around the back here to the enemy floater, and I'll work their back. And I will cause absolute pain on them. Those are some options I can do. But usually what I like to do is I'll come back to my my team floater, once again there's a floater here and there's another person on the rail of the anchor. I'll sit here and then what I'll do is I'll move back even more. So I'll move back. Hopefully the enemy center will come forward and try and, take me out of the fight. So what I'll do, I'll be striking the center, coming back, and I'll keep moving back. Hopefully the enemy center will come forward and will come just in front of my floater. And while I'm distracting the center, my floater then can cut across and try and get a takedown. And essentially from there, what will happen is the floater will take out the center, or at least match the center, and then I will become the floater for my anchor. It's a really good way to try and get a quick takedown straight away with that cross cut. So when I'm in a Buhurt fight, I'll either go to the aggressive side or the non-aggressive side. I will make a video about those sides later on. Essentially, the aggressive side is going to be the people with their weapons in the inside list. The defensive side is the people with the swords on the inside, the shields on the inside list. So yeah, that's how I play center. I play center quite a counter fighter, but in saying that though, there is opportunities where I will just cut to the back of the list so it'll turn people's heads. Once again, I'll size up the center, or I'll watch the center for the tournament, and I'll be like, all right, he's quite aggressive, I'm going to try and get around him. Or if he's quite aggressive, I'm going to try and pull back, and so my floater can get a cut across, a cross cut. Also, being a poleaxe fighter in the center, or just a poleaxe fighter in general. Well, this could be just a small boy point. As a small boy, I'm never going to go up and be the aggressor to a larger fighter. I will never come up and just come here and fight. What I always like to tell people is to make them want to come to you. So this is the enemy right now. I will deliberately hit them very hard. We should be hitting them hard anyway, or making them very uncomfortable. So their instinct is, if I'm absolutely hitting them or dropping bombs, they will want to come towards me because they will not want to get hit. So what do I usually do when people come towards me and try to grab my head? I'll hit them, I'll see them coming, I'll swap my axe to whichever side I want to. I'll try and grab an underhook, and because they're coming towards me with some sort of speed because I don't want to get hit again, I will then step in, boom, and try to do my Asada throw. Which you'll see me do is when people charge at me, I'll just step to the side, underhook, boom, boom, boom. Once again, I will be doing a video on my Asada throws from a moving target. Not only small fighters can do that to people, any type of fighter can do that to anyone, but as I am a small fighter, I will never engage directly with a grapple. I will hit people and I'll make them come towards me, or I'll counter their attacks. For me, I consider myself quite a lazy fighter, as I'm not openly aggressive and firing off throws all the time. I'll wait for them to make a mistake, make a few fake throws, wait for them to tumble, do a Sasai or a Soto, boom boom, whatever I can find at the time. So just a recap on this super short video. As a center player, I do two things at the start of a fight. I will either match the opponent's center, so I'll keep them out of play by just keeping my distance, so just keep my distance with them, or I will push back to my floater and try and make their center overreach too much because they're trying to match me, so we can get the cut across from my floater. Those are my two quick tips, I guess, for a center fighter and a small center fighter. Yeah, try and use those things in your Buhurt teams. If it works, let me know. If you have any good ideas or videos you want me to run through, leave them in the comments. Hope you have a fantastic day and stay deadly.